This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, feline friends. This is Michelle Fern, your host on Cattitude. And today, this show is kind of different because I want to talk to you about something very basic. Should you adopt a cat, or is it not for you quite yet? And I know many of us out there are already pet parents, but there's a lot of people listening that have been thinking, should I or shouldn't I? And yes, it is a commitment. So it is something to think about. We'll be right back after this break.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Cattitude. And today's show is about should you or shouldn't you? Shouldn't you or shouldn't you what? Adopt a cat, of course. And like I had mentioned in the introduction of the show, many people listening are pet parents. And some of us became pet parents by accident. The cats found us. That's how it happened for me. And some of us have been pet parents maybe in the past and don't know if we are ready to commit again. And some of us have never been pet parents and really love cats and are thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Well, hopefully this show will give you more information for you to really think about. So first, I wanted to mention this book because I found a lot of great information in this book. National Geographic sent us actually 2 books. It's a cat breed guide and a dog breed guide. But hey, this show's about cats. And it's National Geographic Kids. But I am telling you, this is not a kid book. I will have it on at Cattitude 17 and tagging this show. And this book is just fabulous. I'm going to have other shows with some information that I found in the book. There's a lot of great information on cat breeds and taking care of cats, history of cats, just everything cat. And it is not for kids. I know it's National Geographic Kids, but it's not a kid book. I think it's kid friendly, but adults will have a great time with this book. And I do want to address that it's called A Complete Reference to Your Perfect Best Friend. It's by Stephanie Warren Drummer and Gary Weitzman, DVM, and President and CEO of the San Diego Humane Society. So thank you for sending us the book. Now, on to whether or not you should adopt a cat. First, if you're thinking about it, that's a good sign that you're really thinking about the commitment of should I adopt a cat or shouldn't I, rather than acting spontaneously like, hey, it's Halloween, let me get a black cat, or I'm lonely, my boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with me, I want to get a cat. Fur kids are not, you don't get them and give them back. It's not that kind of a thing, at least in my world. And most pet parents, I think almost all pet parents feel the same way. Fur babes are a commitment, whether it's cat or dog or other, they're a commitment. You don't just get them and return them. So if you're thinking about it, hey, you're already on to a good path. So these are some ideas for you to consider in preparing and determining if you are ready to become a pet parent for a cat. Because we're Cattitude, but a lot of these can be thought of if you maybe love cats, but you really want a dog, but we're Cattitude. So we're going to talk about cats. First, there's a lot to think about when you think about committing yourself to, being a pet parent to a cat. One thing that a lot of people don't think about is cats. They have a long life, especially in comparison to dogs. The average age for cats to live is 15 years. For dogs, it depends on the size, but cats live a lot longer than dogs as a whole, mostly because, they're smaller, but as in smaller dogs live a lot longer than larger dogs, but they do live a long time. So when you're considering adopting a cat, this is your next 15 to 20 years with this furry little adorable kitten. And that will grow into an adorable cat with a personality all its own. Are you ready for that? So think about that. How's your life going to change in 15 years? Are you going to be, moving to a different country where it might be difficult to move your fur babe with you? Are you going to change your family? There's a lot of things to consider, but that's something I think a lot of people forget about, that when you make the decision, it's not for this year, next year, it's for the next at least 15 years. Hopefully with luck. Of course, some cats don't unfortunately live that long, but with luck, you'll have your fur baby cat for 15 years. So think about that. Also think about what goes along with being a pet parent to a cat. Feeding and litter box. So you have what goes in and what goes out. And both of those are very important. Most cats have, dry food and wet food. And most cats these days drink water. It used to be cats were really not water drinkers, but I think because they've become so domesticated and so many people with cats also have dogs, and the cats see the dogs drinking water, so the cats drink water. So it's very common these days for cats to have water. Plus, there's a lot of little water fountains, like our cats. My cat crew, we have a little water fountain, and cats like motion in water, and that draws them to the fountain. It's actually really good for your cat to drink water. And that's why some vets and feline experts say have dry food and wet food, because the wet food does have some water in it. And if your cat does not drink water, at least they'll have some water in that way. Now, we're not going to get into on this show, because that could be many shows and take a lot longer, about what type of food and all of that. Just keep in mind, you're going to need food, and it can get a little pricey. So something to consider. Also, litter box. Generally, you should have one litter box per cat plus an extra. So if you're going to adopt one cat, you should have 2 litter boxes. Most of the time, if you have one cat, 1 litter box will work. But if you have 2, for sure, think about 3 litter boxes. And they're a little messy to clean up. And there are, you can use a face mask. There's also some great automatic litter boxes. And we found that to work best because we have a little, crew of 3. And they like things pristine. So these automatic litter boxes, actually, as soon as they go, it waits a good few minutes. So it's definitely assured that the kitty is out of the litter box, so the kitty's not harmed in any way. And then it sweeps everything. But what it sweeps, that part has to be cleaned. So give that some consideration. Now you might think, well, I'm going to walk my cat. That's an option too, but cats are smart. They can be trained to walk, but they are not dogs. They need a litter box. Now, think about the companionship of your little kitty. Are you looking for a little kitty because, you're at a time of your life where you're just feeling lonely, you're bored, you want something, a little furry friend, or do you really want to be a pet parent? Give that some consideration for sure, because you're going to need some time to play with your little furry friend. Sure, cats sleep a lot. They are, mostly night owls. They're very nocturnal. And they don't need as much intense exercising as, say, a dog does. However, you need to spend some time with your kitty. You need to play with them. You need to just get involved with them. It's not just when you're feeling lonely. They feel lonely too. So spend the time with them. And if you really, really want to adopt a cat, but you work long hours and you have it in you to be a great pet parent, consider adopting 2 cats. Because guess what? They'll keep each other really busy. And if they're adopted at the same time, it'll be an easier transition versus adopting, the one kitty and then bringing another kitty into the household. That has its own challenges, as I found out. So that's something to consider, because 2 kitties are not that much more, expensive and not that much more food than one kitty. And they'll play together. It doesn't mean you shouldn't play with them. You should play with them too. They need your attention. But they're great companions for each other. Now, we're going to be right back, and I'm going to tell you some more things to consider before you become a pet parent to a kitty. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, Michelle Fern here. I have discovered a great brand called Dr. Elsie's. They are truly focused on your cat. One of their mottos is, we've always put ourselves in our pet's paws. I just love that. And did you know the number one behavioral reason that cats are either abused, abandoned, or returned to shelters is doing their number 1s and number 2s outside the litter box? Yep. And let me tell you, I have been dealing with that for quite a while with one of my kitties, Charlotte. I have a multi-cat household like so many of you, and no matter what I tried, she refuses to use the litter box, and I have tried everything. Nothing worked. And then I found out about Dr. Elsie's Cat Attract. Now, most cats are not that picky, but almost every household has a Charlotte, and that cat will be persnickety about using the litter box with other cats. Well, Dr. Elsie's Cat Attract is a product that helps bring cats, like my persnickety Charlotte, back to using the box. And Dr. Elsie's is so positive that you will love their product. They're going to offer a rebate and pay up to $20 for your first bag of any Dr. Elsie's litter. You can visit drelsies.com/Cattitude and print out the rebate form or fill it out online. I will also have it on my Instagram, which is @Cattitude17. Give Dr. Elsie's Cat Attract litter a shot. You will not regret it. Happy cat, Mom. Happy cat.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is Cattitude, and we're talking about what you should consider before you adopt a cat. So, moving along, this is an important thing to consider. Your finances, because kitties can be expensive. You'll never know what type of medical needs they'll have, and you want to be prepared. I don't think there's any fur babe, dog or cat or anything else, even without fur, that doesn't have a medical issue every so often. And any pet parent that you talk to, I'm sure that everyone has a story of, my kitty's been great, but there was this one time when the vet cost blah, blah. Yep, it happens to all of us. I could almost give you a list of every one of my fur kids and the little surprises that have happened or things that have happened out of the blue that just cost a little fortune, let's say. And you have to just be prepared. They're a member of your family, and you have to be prepared to take care of them. Besides just situations that might come up and, hey, I could sugarcoat it, but things happen, I'll give you a little example. Dennis has been with me the longest. Geez, we go back almost, I think, 10 years now. And he's my little dog cat. He's part Maine Coon. And he had crystals in his urine. And that is pretty common in male cats. I did not know this. And it happened to Dennis. And cats aren't very good at letting you know when they're sick. So you have to really watch out for signs that are, very subtle. And had we not hurried and taken Dennis to the vet immediately, there would be no more Dennis. And the surgery was quite expensive. We're talking in a couple of $1,000. But what do? New clothes, a little bit of money, or you have your kitty healthy and with you for many more years, right? I mean, is it even a choice, So there's a lot of different types of options. A lot of the U.S. vets across the country use care credit. There's some independent vets might have some type of, different financial arrangements. You can always get a second opinion, but just keep in mind, just like people, your kitty could get sick. Now, besides the finances of that there might be a sickness, and this is kind of rare. It's not often that it happens, but just keep it in mind that you have a little savings, just as you would for yourself if you were to get sick and not be able to work. You need savings, right, to pay your bills. Same thing for your kitty. You need a little savings for your kitty in case they get sick so you can pay for it. Also consider, feeding, toys, litter, and of course, grooming. So the biggest expense out of all of that probably is feeding, because that's going to happen its entire life. And probably the vet, because you should see your vet at least once a year with your kitty, just as a checkup, make sure everything's going well and make sure they're in, tip-top shape. So even though I know some of you might be listening going, nah, my kitty doesn't cost me anything, and that's great. I'm not telling you this as something as a negative so that you shouldn't consider adopting a kitty. I'm just letting you know that you should be prepared that your kitty might end up costing a little bit from some type of odd illness. But look at the alternative. You're a pet parent to this wonderful little ball of fur, this little kitten that's going to grow up to be a wonderful cat. And how can you put a price on that? I love my crew. They all have different personalities, and they've cost me over the years for sure. Would I give up any of them? No, not at all. I could probably have a new car, instead of the vet bills. But you know what? I'll drive my older car and be happy. So because I have, 5 fur babies, well, actually 7 fur babies that adore me. And so what? If I don't have the best and the newest, I have my fur babes, they're more important to me. Now, we talked a little bit about this in finances, but consider grooming. Grooming is pretty much a nominal cost when it comes to kittens and cats because they're pretty much self-groomers. You might need, if you have a long-haired cat, such as Maine Coon, to get your cat shaved every so often. Dennis looks, I think, adorable in his lion cut. But other than if you have a long-haired kitty, the grooming is so minimal. You might take them every so often to get their nails trimmed. But other than that, the grooming costs are pretty nominal. I don't think that's anything that would hinder someone from considering adopting a kitty. Now, here's my almost last thing to consider. Cats scratch. Yep, especially kittens. They scratch. So, what do? Well, make sure you have plenty of scratchers in your home. And it's always a good idea to maybe spray some catnip oil or sprinkle a little catnip on the scratcher because that will keep them more interested in the scratcher versus your chair or your rug or your couch or your drapes. I can go on. I've had every one of those things scratched at some point. But again, when you think about it, if your cat's happy with a scratcher and they have enough to keep their attention, generally 2 or 3 scratches in your house for one kitty is plenty, then they're occupied. They're not going to go after your chair or your rug. And if they do, let them know it's not acceptable. Just a sharp no. And if you have to, you can always cover the area. There's a lot of great products out there on the market to where you can actually put there's some plastic pieces that adhere to your corners of your sofa, corners of, parts of your drapes and so forth, corners of a chair, and that will deter the cat from scratching because they can't get into the claw, or it's sticky and they won't like it. So is cat scratching really an issue when it comes to adopting a cat? I don't think so. Okay, here's my last thing for you to consider. And I've done a lot of shows on this, so I'm not going to talk about it too long. I don't want to hem and haw about this. But should you go to a breeder or a rescue? And for everybody listening, you probably know where I'm coming from. There are a lot of great breeders out there, first of all. There's a lot of wonderful breeders. But there's also many, 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 many rescues out there. And there's also many rescues out there that are breed specific. So if you're looking for a Maine Coon, I am sure there is a Maine Coon cat rescue somewhere in your near proximity if you're in a larger city. Or just consider going to your local shelter and just finding the kitty or the cat that bonds with you. It's kitten season. We're almost over. We're recording this mid-October. Kitten season, April to October, sometimes November. There are so many kittens that need homes. So many. So really consider your rescues. There's a lot of rescue information. Go online, do a little searching. Another great thing, and I've had a show on this before, go to a cat cafe if you have one near you. Go to a friend's house who has some cats and see how you bond with the cats. We'll do a show about this in the near future, but as far as what breed might be the best for you. But there's a lot of mixed breed cats out there, like a lot. So I just think, cats are just unique unto themselves. They have a lot of different personalities. There are so many kitties out there that just try taking a look at your local rescue and seeing if you could find what you want. If you want something specific, a Sphinx cat or Siamese, they're a little harder to find at some rescues. So look up a reputable breeder. That might be the best choice for you. Now, until then, I hope you found all of this great information helpful to you when considering adopting a cat. And I will promise we will have more on, what to look for, what different breeds, and, what happens when you bring your cat home and those sort of things in the near future. So stay tuned. Keep listening. We have so many great shows still to come on Cattitude.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.